Vidianto Wijaya on your left, Christopher Juliano on your right. And given that he's destroyed everyone this weekend, Vidia, he gets to go first.
Yeah, the overall 1 seed here by a mile.
It'll be a flooded strand to start off our other semifinal match. Winner of this match going to play against Caleb Scherer, as there is a Zergo Bell striker there for Juliano. Good start for him. He wants to get to the board early, as you mentioned.
Yeah, well, and I did talk about he's got some cards that are very strong in the early game, and they can really capitalize on some of the things that Wijaya is doing. I mean, in order to do well in a lot of these mid-range mirrors, Wijaya has played 3 copies of Painful Truths in the main. You know, he only has 2 ultimate prices. He has some main deck duresses. There's a lot of ways he's not positioned to deal with Zergo Bell Striker. 1 Bell Striker is fine. If Juliano maybe pairs it with a Swift Spear, then I become worried.
It's an island there for Vidi. He'll pass the turn back, representing a couple different things, but most notably, Silumgar's Scorn as we go back Juliano's way.
Yeah, Silumgar's Scorn and Ultimate Price are the things he could have here.
Zergo going to come across for 2. Vidi going to fall down to 17. We'll see if Juliano has a follow-up. He'll play a Wooded Foothills, and he'll sacrifice that. So I think we'll have a mountain on the way here in just a moment. And there is a basic mountain.
Red-Black Dragons here. A nearly mono red deck. It has black cards for Murder's Cut, Kolagon's Command, and then Kolagon the Storm's Fury. Yeah,
a little bit of splash in the sideboard as well, but you also see he'll touch in blue in the sideboard with Negate. We'll get to that after game number 1, as there's a Hangerback Walker. Now, the interesting thing about Hangerback Walkers, it does get countered, which I think is good for Vidi, is that card has really fallen off a cliff in the format, and I imagine Christopher probably took advantage of people not really preparing for that card this weekend.
Well, when you look at the removal spells that Esper Dragons has played, one of the banes of the Esper Dragons deck has been Hangerback Walker. I mean, it's really hard to play Foul Tongue Invocation against that card. And you see some respect then. Zergo Bell Striker is good against Dragons, and Hangerback's good. They don't always seem like they go in the same deck, but in this position, they're both good.
Plains is what Wijaya is going to search up here with a Flooded Strand. He'll fall down to 16, perhaps a Foul Tongue Invocation on the way. It'll be a Painful Truth.
Look at his face there as he casts that.
Painful indeed as he falls down to 13.
I think he knows he's playing with fire, literally, here.
Well, you know, you get 3 cards, and you hope if you're VD, I untap, and the worst it is that I'm at 11. Not any lower than that. Here comes Zergo. It's going to be 11. We'll see what comes next here for Juliano.
Yeah, what I do like about Esper Dragons is that I love the interaction between Painful Truths and Foul Tongue Invocation. How you can, you know, some of these decks playing Painful Truths have no ways to mitigate the life loss, but that's just not true for this one.
Land number 4 on the way. It'll be a Shambling Vent, pass the turn back. Juliano will untap. You saw his land for the turn was a Polluted Delta. That can search up a Smoldering Marsh if necessary. Here comes Zergo again.
6 damage now? Yeah, 6 damage from Zergo Bell Striker, just showing off that those 1-drops are just so important.
Juliano just going to pass the turn back. Have the ability to play a Thunderbreak Regent this turn, electing not to, as Wijaya is going to draw an island.
No real need to. And we talked about how once you start getting into the late game or the burnout range, how Red-Black Dragons will be much better positioned than something like a Tarka Red. Juliano's staying back on Wild Slashers and Exquisite Firecrafts, I believe.
Dragonlord Ochitai is here, and Juliano's going to untap, and it's time for him to take a draw.
This hand that Wijaya kept did not work out at all.
I mean, not yet. It's possible. I mean, he's at 9. It's possible for him to still win this game.
If he wins it, it'll be a steal.
Yep.
Painful Truth didn't find any removal spells.
Juliano going to fall down to 18. He's going to search up a land here. I imagine we'll see a Smoldering Marsh as he's going to sacrifice Polluted Delta as well. I think if you're VD, even though you are on the play, game 1 you probably feel like you're a dog. You know, especially if Foul Tongue Invocation doesn't show up and do its thing.
Yeah, you need that. You need those 4 life points to work with. Or you'd like to have them at the very least.
Absolutely. He hasn't found that card just yet. You see Wild Slash over there in Juliano's hand. There's a Kolagon, the Storm's Fury as well.
I mean, the story of this game has been Wijaya's inability to deal with Zergo Bell Striker.
Yep. But the brakes are on for now. The 5-4 is in the way. Here's a Thunderbreak Regent for Juliano. Going to pass the turn back over to Wijaya. He'll take a draw step here. Picked up a copy of Dig Through Time. Graveyard's not very large, though.
No, and because of Thunderbreak Regent, Wijaya can't attack with Ojitai. May not have been able to anyway, just because of how low his life points are getting. But he does have a dragon in play. I believe at least 1 Silumgar's Scorn in hand.
Well, what I find kind of interesting is you say that he can't attack with Dragonlord Ochitai, but what if he does? What does Juliano do then? Does he just take it and allow VD to anticipate, or does he trade with Thunderbreak Regent? If he trades, if I'm VD, depending on what my hand is, I might be happy about that.
Right, your worry would be that if he hits you and then finds a foul tongue invocation.
Absolutely.
You're right.
I could also see a line of play here for Vidi where he attacks with Dragonlord Ojutai and then just plays another one after getting to anticipate, but he's just going to play a land and pass the turn back.
Yeah, so sits back on what I believe is Silumgar Scorn's Scatter to the Winds, Dig Through Time.
Okay. Juliano's going to untap. Time for him to take a draw.
It's good, but not great. The late game that Vidi has in his hand is he has a copy of Ugin. Though, with something like Kolaghan the Storm's Fury in Juliano's hand, there is a risk that Vidi will tap out for Ugin and then immediately die.
Yep. And that's got to be on the radar the entire time for him. I know there are only 2 copies of Kolaghan in Juliano's deck, but the entire time that card's kind of looming over how the game is going to play. And he, of course, has one in his hand right now. I think for Juliano, he's just trying to figure out, how can I pick my best spot to ruin Vidi with this card?
Right. So Vidi has to tag Kolaghan with a counterspell, and that's no easy task.
Here comes Thunderbreak Region. I certainly don't love the idea of taking 4.
I don't think that's an option. I'm not even sure taking 3 to point a kill spell that's an option, so this block just makes sense.
Yep. And now Juliano will just pass the turn back.
Well, we'll take a little dig then.
That's exactly what Vidi's going to do. And you see he does have a copy of Dragonlord Silumgar in hand. Dig Through Time is going to resolve.
He would love to find a Foul Tongue Invocation right now.
Wijaya going to take a look at the top 7, of course, take 2 along with him from the Dig Through Time. Shambling, Vent, Painful, Trueless Jace, Vryn's Prodigy among those cards. Does not look like the best Dig Through Time.
I don't think you can take Painful Truths anymore. I love drawing cards. I get it, but ultimate price is acceptable here.
I would be fine with that if that's within those 7 cards.
I am concerned about Jace because if you know Juliano's deck, you know that cards like Draconic Roar exist, and I'm just not sure I want to put a Jace into play. I mean, Silumgar even suffers from that problem.
There's ultimate price. That's going to resolve. The shields are down right now. Juliano might fire off some burn spells. Again, he doesn't have a lot of burn. Wild Slash, Kolaghan's Command. Those are some instant speed burn spells. Nothing to target with Draconic Roar right now. And then Exquisite Firecraft is a sorcery.
Yeah, he has burn, and Firecraft actually is a really good burn spell in this deck, in that it's a lot of damage for 1 card that kind of fits into his theme, but you're right, it's a sorcery, it doesn't work here.
Kolaghan's Command is going to deal VD 2, it appears. And Thunderbreak Reed is going to come back to the grip. So now we're going to head back Wijaya's way.
Good play here for Juliano. 2 damage and a Thunderbreak, that's solid.
Prairie Stream the draw. Plenty of basics out there, so it'll enter the battlefield untapped if that's the land that Wijaya wants to play. Oh, wow. He is going to play Painful Truce and fall down to 4.
All right, I was wrong. I guess he can play that. Ooh, all right.
Well, he found a Foul Tongue. A Flooded Strand into Dig Through Time. It's risky, but it's a risk he's willing to take. Again, because this deck doesn't really burn you out very well. If there were a Tarkus Command, Stoke the Flames, all that stuff running around, if I'm VD, I'd be a little bit more scared, but that's not out there. Now, 2 Wild Slash could steal the game.
Yeah. That's not even unreasonable. Wild Slash plus Kolaghan's Command.
Juliano thinking about casting one of these Wild Slashes. And VD goes down to 2 immediately. Now it's time to discard a Polluted Delta and simply pass the turn back over to Juliano. He'll untap. He'll draw.
It doesn't even hurt to have to discard a card here because I don't think Wijaya can crack fetches anymore.
Yeah, you think that's off the table?
I mean, I guess 2 and 1 are the same number, but yeah, life points are a high enough resource that I don't want to spend one getting another land.
Juliano just going to pass the turn back, not willing to cast a copy of Kolaghan's Command here or Thunderbreak Regent. Going to try to pick his spot.
If he's hoping that Wijaya will tap mana for him, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I don't think so either. Juliano just going to pass the turn back again. And right now, if you're VD, you're obviously going to tread lightly. But at the same time, if Christopher's not casting a spell and you know he has a Thunderbreak Regent in his hand, that means that you know he's got an instant speed burn spell that he's trying to kill you with.
Just look at the heads-up play here by Wijaya. The resource, the life point management this game has been really phenomenal. Casting a second Painful Truths, I don't think is a play that everybody makes in that situation. It's scary, to say the least.
Here's Foul Tongue Invocation revealing a dragon.
Yeah, so you might think this is peculiar because there's no dragons for Juliano, but, well, Wijaya's had to be discarding cards. And it's not a if they do sacrifice a creature, you gain 4 life. You just get 4 life.
Yeah, so this is the big one. He's not killing anything. He's using this as 3 mana, reveal Dragonlord Slumguard, gain 4 life, because 6 is a lot better than 2. Here's Kolaghan's command. Now we know about Scatter to the Winds in hand.
Yeah, I mean, this is the time for Juliano to make this play.
And realistically, Vidi has forced his hand. So the target is going to be Zergo with the Kolaghan's command. And now here's Scatter to the Winds to counter that.
Yeah, well, the dash ability on Zergo is problematic. So outside of the fact that it's a lethal burn spell, so he will have to make that counter. There's more going on too.
Vidi's going to go up to 6 from the Foul Tongue Invocation. Dragonlord Slumgar still in the hand, as that all you have to do is reveal that.
And this was all on Juliano's end step.
Yeah, the mana was tapped a little bit differently there by Vidi. He left up Shambling Vent and Sunken Hollow, so he wouldn't be able to dig through time with the way that he actually tapped his mana for that spell.
Right. I mean, if he wants to dig on the end step, that I think that's something he's interested in, but you're right. I don't think the tap was made correctly.
Yep. The one thing that I noticed with the way he tapped his mana is that he was not going to be able to cast Salumgar Scorn as well with the way that he tapped his mana.
Right. So that was with that, it makes it easier for Wijaya. No play on end step.
Now he'll get to draw a card. It's a Shambling Vent.
Another copy of Foul Tongue Invocation in Wijaya's hand. I do think he may have turned the corner here.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's willing to do something like fire up Shambling Vent to get into the red zone just to go up to 8. I'm not sure if he thinks that accomplishes much, because Shambling Vent on defense means that Zergo doesn't do very much.
Yeah, well, one thing he's done this game, and remember how he took a Painful Truths and not a Jace off his dig through time, is that I believe he's giving respect to Draconic Roar right now. Now, eventually, if he gets enough life points, he can stop respecting that card.
Well, the shields are...
Well, now.
Yeah. The shields are down. The shields are very much down. This is Ugin.
Well, you have to watch out. Dash to Kolaghan could steal a game now.
Yeah. He's at 6. Shambling Vent's the land. Pass the turn back.
Kolaghan plus Wild Slash. Kolaghan plus Kolaghan's command.
Yep. There's a lot of things that can seal the game out right from underneath Vidi at this stage. However, 6 is a lot different than 5 in this situation. And I think that's part of the reason that he is willing to play Ugin on this turn and saying, Christopher, do your worst. And it's unlikely that your worst can kill me.
He doesn't have to play around Wild Slash, except for off the top of the deck, because he was dead to Wild Slash last turn, and Juliano didn't have one. He knows there's only... Well, there are 3 Kolaghan's commands in the list, so he's dead to the 3rd command, but that's unlikely. What I think here is really benefiting Wijaya is his ability to know Juliano's deck list going into game 1, and the care he has taken to correctly play around it.
That's Flame Lake Phoenix. Gonna bring Vidi down to 4. He'll untap all those lands. Time to draw a card. Duress is the draw, and that's gonna be useful.
The information, more than anything off this Duress, is gonna be fantastic for Wijaya.
Gotta figure out which land he wants to use. He's just gonna use a basic swamp. We'll get an idea of what Juliano's working with here.
Now he'll know to keep that the strategy of not playing creatures has paid off.
2 Murderous Cuts, a Draconic Roar, a Thunderbreak Regent that was returned via Kolaghan's command, and the Kolaghan that he's been playing around the entire game, he has nailed it correctly. Juliano's had it in his hand this whole time.
So well played by Wijaya. Does mean that his Shambling Vents cannot activate. Or at least not until he has some more life points to work with.
Yeah, the Vents are in a troublesome spot because of those Murderous Cuts, because those cuts, along with the Draconic Roar, they don't have anything else better to do.
Remember, Wijaya has 1 Foul Tongue Invocation in hand, so he can snag one of those 2 dragons. I'm assuming Ugin will take care of the Phoenix.
Looks like Draconic Roar is going to bite the dust.
Yeah, so if he takes Roar, now Shambling Vents, well, I guess could in theory do something. Now, the reality is that they'll get hit by Murderous Cuts.
Yep. Ugin's going up.
I was actually interested to see whether or not Ugin was going to go up to kill the Phoenix or go down to exile the Phoenix, because there is potential for Juliano to get it back into play. That said, Ugin has an ultimate that if Wijaya gets it off, should win the game for him.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the plan here for Vidi, is to get to the ultimate. Now, Vidi's going to play Dig Through Time. He'll delve away a bunch of cards, take a look at the top 7 cards, take 2 with them, of course. And you see, I think Juliano wants to know what the ultimate on Ugin does, and we'll take a look at Ugin here once Vidi does finish resolving this dig through time. You see the gain 7 life. That's the big part here. Draw 7, put 7 permanents on the battlefield. That's all well and good, but going from 4 to 11.
Yeah, that is going to be hard for Juliano to come back from. That's the reason we saw him plus Ugin, is it now puts it in range of the ultimate next turn.
Yep. The scary thing about Ugin is, again, the ultimate not that hard to get to. It takes 2 activations of going up.
No, and I mean, even that said, we rarely see it. I mean, as an 8-mana planeswalker, Ugin's, all his abilities are extremely powerful.
Dig through time done resolving. Land for the turn is a Flooded Strand. Pass the turn back, Wijaya over to Juliano. Juliano going to draw a card.
Wijaya has the information. He will know all of Juliano's cards, save 1. He has a Foul Tongue at the ready and Ugin Ultimate to follow it up. I believe he even has multiple copies of Silumgar's Scorn. That should have this locked up.
Yeah, if that's the case, if he has Scorn and another hard counter to stop Juliano from what he's doing, Juliano's in the spot now where he can't play multiple spells in a turn to try to finish his game off. He doesn't have a lot of burn to get the game done with, and Vidi is threatening to gain so much life next turn.
And I'll say it, early on, it seemed so difficult that Wijaya was going to stabilize this game. When Zergo was dealing 6 damage, and Wijaya was having to cast multiple Painful Truths, it just didn't seem like it was going to happen.
There's the Foul Tongue Invocation to take care of the Kolagon. Wijaya's going to go up to 8. Now we might see him go up to 15, and there's really no coming back here for Juliano if that's the case.
I mean, Wijaya's hand is Scorn, Dragon.
Well,
that is, you're not going to break through that.
Jace, the draw. Ah, yes, cash it in. The ultimate on Ugin is here.
So it's gain 7, draw 7, put 7 permanents on the battlefield from your hand onto the battlefield. Actually, flavor-wise, this is, interestingly enough, the reverse of Nicol Bolas's ultimate.
Very true.
See, because they actually fought. So Ugin was the good guy, Bolas was the bad guy.
Does Ugin feel like the good guy right now?
Well, when they fought, Ugin didn't win. That's the thing.
Bunch of permanents are going to be entering here. And Vidi's found cards like Crux of Fate, Utter End, Duress. Then you see Nicol Bolas, 7 damage target player. That player discards 7 cards, then sacrifices 7 permanents.
Yeah, Bolas kills the other player, and Ugin... See, Ugin doesn't mess with your opponent. He just does he does nice things for you.
A very friendly Spirit Dragon.
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, it's going to also, as a consequence, kill your opponent.
Yeah. Here's Duress. Draconic Roar was the draw for Juliano last turn. The 2 Murderous Cuts along with the Thunderbreak Regent still in hand, but Wijaya has stabilized and is now looking for a way to close out the game. In between Dragonlord Silumgar, these Shambling Vents, and the hard counter magic he has, it's only a matter of time.
Yeah, I mean, 15 life, so many.
And what's really tough here for Juliano, especially if you're rooting for him at home, is I think game 1's a very important one for him to get. He's the aggressor. I know he's on the draw because Wijaya was the #1 overall seed, and he's got a good sideboard to bring to the table, but game 1 for these aggressive strategies is so important against the control decks.
Yeah, game 1 is important. Now, we'll get to that in a second. Normally you expect the control deck to get better after board, and I'm not saying that isn't true, but it's much closer than we'd expect.
Yeah. Wijaya going to search for Prairie Stream now. Falls down to 14. Might be thinking Shambling Vent here. Wants to make sure he's got plenty of blue mana available for the Silumgar Scorns. There's Shambling Vent. It's going to come in for 2. Wijaya up to 16. Juliano going to fall a little bit lower, down to 12.
You should just about have it locked up. It'll take a couple swings, but not even so many. He got to keep the Ugin around after he ultimated it, so 3 damage a turn will be coming from there.
Mountain the draw here for Juliano. He'll take a look at the graveyard that Wijaya is working with here. Maybe try to pick up a little bit of information. Murderous Cut going to come down. It's going to target Jace Vryn's Prodigy. We'll see if Vidi is okay with that resolving. Again, Vidi is working with basically perfect information given the duress. Jace is going to bite the dust. Doesn't really need that to win.
I can't really see Wijaya countering anything right now. basically you want to counter something that could stop you from winning, and I just don't think any of these cuts are close to doing that.
There's Murderous Cut there on Dragonlord Salumgar. Juliano will delve away some other cards. I think he's going to counter this as it's a mere annoyance, and he'd like to finish this game off pretty quickly.
When you start countering spells in the names of time, that's a good place to be.
Yeah, I want to get the game over with. There's Thunderbreak Regent.
Yeah. Crux, Scorn, Utter End. Sure.
Yeah, another Scorn.
Yeah.
As we said, it's only a matter of time.
Which of these many answers shall I use?
Pretty much. Dragonlord Ochitai. Ooh, nice.
Okay. Ooh, okay, now maybe he can get the clock 1 turn quicker.
Yep. I think it's going to be 2 turns no matter what he does.
Yeah.
Here's an attack for 3. We're going to go up. That's 3 more. Is Juliano going to fall down to 6? Vidi going to play Dragonlord Ochitai.
Why not? We'll get the whole team.
Yeah, some goods. More is better. And that is going to do it. Vidianto Wijaya is going to win game number 1 here over Christopher Juliano. Esper Dragons up a game over Red Black Dragons as Wijaya does continue his dominance here in Las Vegas. We're going to take a look at the sideboards here, and you're going to find that what Christopher Juliano does bring to the table is a little bit interesting in 2 Scab Clan Berserkers, 2 Outpost Siege, 2 Negate, 2 Ultimate Price, 3 Duress, and 4 copies of Self-Inflicted Wound.
Well, one of the things we talked about with his deck is it's not just this all-in red deck. He actually has a lot of cards that point him toward a mid-game and possible late game, and he can actually continue going at that out of the sideboard. So 3 Duress, so you expect this out of black decks against control. He can definitely use those. 2 Outpost Siege is actually very interesting. Outside of a counterspell or Ugin, Wijaya can't answer Outpost Siege, and he'll gain a lot of card advantage. It gives him another spell that Wijaya has to fight over. Lastly, and you touched on this one during the match, there is a light blue splash that Christopher was already running so that his mana could be slightly better with the Battlelands. He has 2 copies of Negate in his sideboard that'll both be fantastic in the matchup.
On the other side of things here for Wijaya, 2 Irrational Clerics, 3 Monastery Mentors, 2 Negates and Ultimate Price, 2 Tasker the Golden Fang, 2 Duress, a Languish, and 2 Self-Inflicted Wounds of his own.
Yeah, now on Wijaya's side, I'm more interested to see what he chooses to do here. I believe because his opponent still is a Monastery Swift Spear Zergo style deck, that we'll see Arishan Cleric get boarded in. Now, only 2 copies, that part seems fine. The rest of this is rather hit or miss. I think Ultimate Price is good. It answers early creatures, and actually the Dragons deck, most of its threats are mono-colored. But outside of that, I think Languish seems reasonable here. It's probably a better sleeper than Crux of Fate. Perhaps Wijaya goes to some Tassikers. I don't see him going to Monastery Mentor, but then again, if he thinks Juliano's boarding on enough removal, he might make that swap.
Well, those are the options there for both players, and as they do get ready here for game number 2, we will talk about the StarCityGames.com holiday sale, December 1st to January 1st. We're going to have some awesome specials for you. This one that's going up to 20% off of select promo lands ends Monday at 10:59 a.m., East Coast time. New items added at 11 a.m. East Coast time, Monday to Friday, and we'll have stocking stuffers all month long as well. StarCityGames.com for more information about that holiday sale. That does get updated every weekday. Game number 2 on the way. Now, I believe if memory serves, Matthias, you said during the pregame show you were a fan of Esper coming into the weekend?
I said I wanted to play Esper if I was going to do it this weekend. I almost got to just be a hero. I said Esper and Todd Anderson, but then Todd lost playing for top 8.
You got close.
We're close.
You got very close. I know you weren't a fan of Amulet Bloom coming into the weekend, and it did put up a pretty good showing. Nothing spectacular, however.
Yeah, actually, so none of these players are playing Amulet in the top 8. And I know Brad Nelson was talking about this. Jarvis Yu had a great standard record, crashed out with Amulet. No Amulet decks with a record, I believe, better than 5-3 on the weekend.
So perhaps that deck will continue to stick around. We will find out. For Christopher Juliano, he played Jund to a pretty solid record to make top 8. And for Vidianto Wijaya, it was Grixis Control that he liked. And he went 7-0-1 with that deck through Modern.
Yeah, I mean, Grixis Control, to me, looked like of the decks that the deck to be playing this weekend, at least in Modern. You know, we talked about we liked Obzon and other black-green decks, but Grixis Control in the hands of both Vidianto Wijaya and Jerry Thompson looked fantastic.
Well, looks like Wijaya is going to take a moment to get ready here for game number 2. You see him take a moment to place his phone on the table. So we'll come back to the booth here very, very quickly. And of course, we do want to talk about the StarCityGames.com Players Championship as well, because, well, it's next weekend.
Right.
We know that. We're in the semifinals. We've already got one person over on the other side to the finals. That's Caleb Scherer, who it really can't go understated how impressive a run it's been here for him.
Well, I mean, he's been in the Players Championship conversation all year, but not like this.
Yeah.
Came in this weekend just falling short on the points race, and really just out of almost sheer will bounced back from a rough start and just running the table on really a historic run here.
It's incredible to start the tournament off 3-3 and still be able to fight back. A lot of people might give up in that situation, but Caleb kept his head down, kept battling, rattled off a whole bunch of wins. Now all of a sudden he's in the finals, and he did have kind of the backdoor out of if Joe Lissette was able to win the tournament and Caleb was able to make the top 4, then Caleb would be able to make it in and Joe would drag him along, much like we saw last year with Dylan Donegan bringing Steve Mann along with him to the Players' Championship. But Joe got knocked out very quickly by Christopher Juliano and his Red Black Dragons deck, so now it's just on Caleb.
Yeah, I mean, that's really just been it, right? There were a lot of players who, for a while, looked like they might be able to take someone along with them into the Players' Championship. But at the end of the day, it's Caleb who has to fight for Caleb, and maybe that's just the way he wants it.
Yeah, we'll take a look at all the players that are qualified here. Again, we've got 15 that are already figured out. You got Jacob Wilson and Jim Davis. Those are our Season 1 champions. Jacob did win the Invitational, and then Jim, your points leader. For Season 2, Ali Antrazi, Kevin Jones, Ali, pretty memorable stuff with Green Red Tron, beating Chris Van Meter in the finals, playing Amulet Bloom. And for Kevin, well, I don't know if anyone plays more Magic than he does, so he's qualified. And then for Season 3, it was Alex Pistecki, Danny Jessup. They're good to go. And then all these at-large bids, which I'll let you rattle off here.
Well, so Season 4, we had actually the points champion is Joe Lissette for Season 4, actually based off his top 8 finish. But then we get to our top 8 bids. So that'll be Jonathan Morawski, Todd Anderson, Ross Miriam, Rudy Brixa, Hunter Nance, Logan Mize, and Tom Ross, all joining us next weekend.
And last but certainly not least is the defending champion. That's Brad Nelson. He won our Players' Championship last year. He walked out of there with a $10,000 check and a big smile on his face, and he'll be ready to battle again next weekend. Already preparing in Roanoke here this weekend as he does watch the coverage. We just got to figure out who that 16th person is going to be. It's going to be one of the 3 players left: Caleb Scherer, Vidianto Wijaya, or Christopher Giuliano. And I'll tell you, what a story it would be if Caleb was able to pull this off.
If Caleb gets it, I mean, yeah, absolutely. And it would be well-deserved on his part.
I'm out of range for points. Screw it. I'll just win the tournament. Who cares? That's easy.
Though some notable players standing his name, and I still think if you want to look at, you know, a player who just has been dominant this weekend, both in deck selection, deck building, and really in play, Pro Tour experience, Vidianto Wijaya is just really impressive. And I like Caleb's run, and, you know, it might get there, but I still, Vidi is the player to beat.
It's hard to pick against him, even though Caleb's run has been incredibly impressive. Vidi's run has been just about as good, and one could argue even better. He's lost 1 match this weekend.
Right.
Against very difficult competition, and he has been the best of the bunch thus far. Again, he's lost 1 match to Jeff Hoagland in Standard very early on in the tournament, has not lost since, kept winning, even though he was already locked with a couple of rounds to go. Finally drew in the last round, and now here he is in the semifinals, up a game. And it's hard to say if this is a good or bad matchup for him. I think it's close.
Well, and, you know, we talked about it, and at one point I said, you know, we can talk about the matchup, but I wanted to talk about the pilot, and that showed up in Game 1. Yeah. Game 1 looked rough. His draws were weak. They weren't matching up well. He had to cast a Painful Truths at 6 life points. And that's, you know, if you want to talk about the story about Game 1, we can look at their deck list, and we can talk about that. Or I can just say, Vidi played that one to the victory.
He played very well, as he has been all weekend long. There's a reason he is a Grand Prix champion, 5 Open Series top 8s, 1 win in Vegas in 2012, and maybe, to add to the resume, an invitational win. He's up against a Zergo right now.
Last game, Zergo dealt 6 points of damage before it was answered, and that was with Juliano on the draw.
Yep. He has Zergo on the play here, and it might be adding a Swift Spirit to it, and he is. So here's an attack for 3, which is going to fall down to 17. Giuliano does have a follow-up here with a land. We'll just see which one he wants to play. He's going to go with Pluto Delta and simply pass the turn back over to Wijaya. Wijaya drawing a copy of Painful Truths. Might be a little bit surprised to see that still in the deck after sideboard.
Well, I mean, he really didn't have any fear about casting him Game 1. He needs card advantage.
Yeah.
But Red Black Dragons, this is the scary part, doing a great impression here of a red deck. Mono red, I guess, a Natarka red deck.
3 lands left in hand here for Giuliano. Vidi's got to be thrilled to see that on the other side of the table. A Polluted Delta, a Mountain, and a Smoldering Marsh. Nailed a self-inflicted wound with the duress. Going to write down the information. And for Giuliano, the draw step's very important now.
Yeah, I was a little surprised to see self-inflicted wound. Sometimes you see players board that in against Esper Dragons because it is a way to answer Dragon Lord Ojutai. It's probably his only way to kill it. But that said, if you're looking at green and white creatures in Wijaya's deck, that's it. Unless Giuliano expects him to board in, you know, Monastery Mentor, I suppose Arishan Cleric, and I don't even think the odds of hitting Mentor with this spell are good at all.
Yeah, I think that's actually pretty low, and it's tough to say if Vidi's going to board that card in or not. You do get to clear out the Cleric, which you have to imagine is coming in. But for what it's worth, it's unclear how many self-inflicted wounds have been boarded in either. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just 2.
Yeah, he has 4 on the board. If he has all 4 in, that seems like overkill. But 2 is pretty reasonable.
Wijaya down to 14. Haven of the Spirit Dragon is the draw.
So with all lands, Wijaya is just going to have to make sure he can clear up these creatures. We do see Foul Tongue Invocation in his hand. I believe with a dragon.
Yeah, it has a copy of Dragonlord Salumgar. Another fetch line here for Wijaya at a virtual 12. Juliano gonna untap and draw.
Yeah, that part is getting scary. You know, you have 2 uncracked fetch lands here. You're taking some damage.
Gonna go to the attack step here. At least Juliano would like to try to, if Wijaya will let him. Here come the attackers.
Wants to wait until the attack step because it represents a counterspell. Now, I don't believe Wijaya has one. But if he waits until the attack step, then he might give Chris the impression that he wants to see if Chris plays a haste threat or something pre-combat before playing any sort of kill spell, which I don't think he's going to play the kill spell anyway.
He's just going to draw a card here. So maybe he does not have Foul Tongue Invocation in hand, or maybe he's better off just languishing here.
Yeah, and I think that's the line. And once again, and what I'm finding impressive on Wijaya's side is he is quite liberal with giving away life points as long as it's not the last one. You know, I would say in this situation, I am worried going this low against red-black dragons. I was worried last game when he Painful Truth so low, but that does not seem, you know, he seems to be very in control of what can kill him and what can't kill him.
Mountain, Kolagon. Looks like it's going to be dashed. Bunch of damage past the turn back. Wijaya down to 4, but 4 is not 0.
Well, what this will do is it can effectively Stone Rain Wijaya off all his plays. So as long as Christopher does not play the dragon into open mana, he can force Wijaya to leave up 3 mana all game.
Another thing I do find a little bit compelling here, too, is that Juliano can set up lines of play like dash Kolagon and then negate whatever your spell is that might handle this. I believe he may have drawn a copy of Hangerback Walker for the turn.
Well, see, I mean, what I like are things like this. So say he gets land 6 and he waits until he has land 7 and then he says hanger back on 1. I mean, what does Wijaya do there?
Here's Foul Tongue Invocation, revealing a dragon.
That part makes it easy. Now that it's out of Juliano's hand, Wijaya has a lot more leeway to work with.
Well, that one is, but he does have the other one. Wijaya does not know that, as Juliano will pass the turn back over to Vidi, plains the draw. Now, we have seen Vidi cast Painful Truths in pretty interesting situations.
You're wondering if he's going to do it now.
I am very curious as he does separate the mana.
Oh, it looks like it. He still has Scatter to the Winds available for the next Kolagon, which, to be fair, Vidi doesn't know about.
There's a Flooded Strand.
Oh, he goes so low in each of these games. Just, oh, man.
Well,
it stresses me out just watching it.
The nice thing about control decks is you get the opportunity to use your life total as a resource. And Vidi did a very nice job of that in Game 1, and he's trying to do it again here in Game 2. He'll search up a copy of Prairie Stream. As he does fall down to 7. The other thing to note about Painful Truths is he could just Painful Truths for 2. I'm not sure if that's optimal or not, but it's an option.
That card has 1 mode.
it certainly does for you.
Am I at 3? If I'm at 3, I will consider the line of playing it on 2. But both, you know, yeah, we're drawing 3.
He's down to 4.
You know, I hadn't even seen that line because as far as, like, in my head, this card has 1 mode, and that mode is it just draws 3.
Okay, so Juliano's draw for the turn was Exquisite Firecraft. Wijaya's at 4. There's only 1
spell in the graveyard?
Correct.
Oh, boy. This is,
Here's Hangerback Walker. This is one of the ways that Juliano can steal a game that it looks like he's in some trouble. Scatter to the Winds is going to take care of that.
Choice there between Scatter to the Winds and Silumgar Scorn. He'll go for the cheaper one.
Wijaya needs a way to gain some life.
Yeah.
Or he has to hope that Juliano doesn't draw another spell. Now, the question here is, how many spells does Juliano actually have after sideboard, as in comes the Vent? He's going to go up to 6. 6 is pretty cozy.
6 is much nicer than 4 right now, especially when your opponent has a Firecraft.
Juliano's going to sacrifice this Polluted Delta. Gonna search up a copy of Sunken Hollow. That'll give him the blue mana, assuming that the negates have come in, which I have to assume they have.
You're against an all-spell deck. I'm assuming he has them in. They're not in his hand right now, though.
And it might be time for another Hangerback Walker here. Here's 6 mana. That's Hangerback for 3. Now, Wijaya does have a copy of Slumgar Scorn in hand. He also has the ability to say, you know what? I'll just Wrangler Slumgar. I'll take that thing. What do I care?
Yeah, if he has the 8th land and can play Slumgar, take Hangerback Walker, and leave up 2, he might do it. Now, if he doesn't have the 8th land, I don't know if he can take that sort of risk.
You can see his hand. He's got Flooded Strand, I believe, Polluted Delta over there. So 8th land, not a problem. Going down to 5, maybe a bit of a problem.
Yeah, so the question is, he has 2 Scorns, I believe. He could try to leave both of them up, but if he's scorning here, he'd only have 1. Makes sense.
I do kind of like scorning this. I like the Drangler Slumgar play. I can certainly see a reason to do that, as Dig Through Time is the draw.
Big draw here. Scorn, Dragon, and Dig Through Time. Once again, we're seeing Vidianto Wijaya near dead, and yet you kind of feel like he's going to win.
Curious to see if he's going to shamble on across. He will. He's going to go up to 8. Juliano's going to fall down to 13. A lot of people have talked about just how powerful of a card Shambling Vent is. You don't think much of a 2/3 lifelinker that's a land, but that creature land might be responsible for the game win here for Wijaya. It's looked very impressive, because when he was at 4 and Exquisite Firecraft was a draw, I was quite worried for him. Going to fall down to 7 now, will Wijaya. Going to search up a copy of Sunken Hollow yet again.
So leaves 4 mana up. He has Scorn. Now, if you noticed, he's left up all 4 blue lands, so he can dig and Scorn here.
And you might be wondering at home, why exactly is he digging right now? It's those negates in the sideboard.
Right. And remember, they have each other's deck lists because they're in a top 8.
Yep.
One thing, and I've noticed, he has definitely, especially in game 1 and even in game 2 here, Wijaya has definitely played like a control player who knows his opponent's deck list.
Yeah.
And you've seen it in specific plays, too.
I think the Ugin tap out is the biggest example of that.
Yeah.
Knowing that it's so unlikely that you can deal me 6 in 1 turn.
You're like, well, your list, you probably can only do 5.
Yep. Vidi going to take a look at the top 7 cards, take 2 with him from the Dig Through Time. Foul Tongue Invocation, Utter End among those cards.
Yeah, never opening himself up to Draconic Roar.
Yep.
I mean, that's not a card I put my red opponents on just out of habit.
Yeah. He's found 2 cards that he's happy with. Dig Through Time, done resolving.
I believe he took another dig off it.
Yeah, might as well chain him.
Something I could always get behind. Just draw spells, draw more of the same card. Yeah, it's great.
It's no Sphinx's Rev, but it's pretty good.
It's pure profit at that point. You have the exact same hand, but plus 1 more thing.
It's a Flame Wake Phoenix now.
This one's interesting because you don't actually want to counter this one if you're Wijaya. That's...
You kind of want to kill it, but you don't want to counter it.
Yeah.
But this is that numbers game again that we saw in the previous game where 7 to 5, sure. Exquisite Firecraft me down to 1.
Stress level just increasing again, down to 5. Just Wijaya, just up, down, up, down, up, down.
Yep. But not dead.
No, I know, it's great. He's doing it perfectly, but it's just, it hurts to watch.
Here's Dragonlord Slumgar. You feel comfortable enough to cast this big thing.
Well, maybe we just don't kill the Phoenix or counter it. You could steal it.
It's a way to win.
It is, I guess, the cleanest answer to Flame Wake Phoenix.
Yeah. Juliano going to draw a card. Picked up another copy of Flame Wake Phoenix.
So he has Phoenix, Kolagon, and Firecraft, I believe, remaining. And this is another spot where, Wijaya is at 5. Firecraft deals 4.
Now we'll see what Juliano wants to do. Because if his plan is to tap out for Kolagon, we know Wijaya has found a copy of Foul Tongue Invocation. Juliano doesn't know that, but you could assume with the way that VD has tapped, that Kolagon's probably no good right now. We'll take a look at the graveyard, see his options. VD will do the same. Kolagon's command, a card to definitely think about when looking at the graveyard.
So can't actually play the Phoenix into this board. It would run into the Dragon.
Yep, there's Kolagon again.
Seems like the conclusion he's come to So things aren't going to get any better, so he needs to put Wijaya to the test.
One Vidi doesn't care about it all. There's Foul Tongue Invocation, Dragon on the battlefield, going up to 9, and 9 is so much for Juliano to deal in this situation. Vidi quickly untapping, getting ready to draw, and I think attack again.
That was a shrug, I guess I have to make you have it moment from Juliano. Unfortunately for him, Wijaya had it.
Yep.
And with that play, I believe we're going to see a 2-0 lead for Wijaya.
I think so. I don't think there's any way for Juliano to come back here. It's going to take one heck of a set of draw steps, and I'm not entirely sure what those draw steps could be. Vidi's going to sacrifice a fetch land, go down to 8, dig a land out of the deck. It'll be a Prairie Stream. Shambling Vents ready to rumble across yet again.
So that will be an attack for 7. It's a 2-turn clock, not to mention some life gain.
Yep. Vidi's up to 10. I love this play yet again. Just going to play Jace past the turn back. Has Dig Through Time, Slumgar scoring at the ready. Juliano will draw a card here. Kolagon's Command, Exquisite Firecraft, along with the Flamewake Phoenix. And what's so tough here for Christopher is that it felt like at times the window was open, right? I drew an Exquisite Firecraft here at 4, but I only have one spell in the graveyard.
But maybe we can get another. I mean he's at 4, right? This is good.
Yeah. But I really do feel that with the Exquisite Firecrafts, like I think they're good, but I think the spell density in his deck after sideboard's pretty low.
Well, that's true. So you look at his main deck, and it has 15 spells in it. But we're talking about cards like Wild Slash and Murderous Cut. So now, granted, they're being replaced by Duresses and Negates. So the spell count's actually the same. But the difference about something like Negate is you don't actually have control over when you cast it. So when you want to fill up the graveyard, it can be hit or miss.
Draconic Roar, you have to imagine, is going to come out of the deck.
Yeah, some of them are those. I don't even really like Kolagon's Command.
Yep. Some number is probably okay, as here's one being cast. Looks like it's going to try to take down Jace, maybe get back a Hangerback Walker. But it's unclear if he's going to be able to reliably cast Exquisite Firecraft with spell mastery.
Yeah, and one of the reasons I don't like Kolagon's Command in this matchup is you see it's a good 2-for-1 here, but I mean, once you start playing the card advantage game against Esper, you know, you look at this board and you just don't care that Juliano might get a 2-for-1 here.
Here's a Dig Through Time in response.
Sure.
Yeah.
If you want to play a card advantage game, then sure. Esper's down.
It's going to be 2 damage to Jason. Return Kolagon the Storm's Fury if it resolves. Now, Vidi going to take a look at the top 7 cards here, take 2 with him. And with this information, we'll see how he feels about Kolagon's Command resolving. Duress among these cards.
I mean, he has the luxury that he can let it resolve. But that said, he may just be far enough ahead that he'll choose not to anyway.
Well, Dig is resolving, and it's all set.
And I believe Vidianto had a Silumgar Scorn in hand and simply chose not to counter.
Flexing his muscles. Here's Flamewake Phoenix. You can play it post-combat, of course. However, Silumgar Scorn is going to counter that.
7 damage on the board.
Yep. Shambling Vent will help out, and Vidianto Wijaya does win game number 2 here over Christopher Juliano. Esper Dragons up 2 games here over Red Black Dragons, and it's been a masterclass here through 2 games of how to use your life total as a resource.
Yeah, I mean, each game we see Vidianto Wijaya going below 10, down to 4, 5 life. Both games we had situations where Wijaya's life total was 1 point higher than the amount of burn in Juliano's hand, or sometimes it was the same. We've had lethal burn spells on the stack multiple times, but each time it was either 1 point short or didn't resolve, and then Wijaya turned it around for the win.
These players will take a look at each other's deck lists, get ready here for game number 3. Christopher Juliano will be on the play once again. We'll see if he can get back into this thing as Vidi is starting to really flex his muscles here in the semifinals. We'll talk about our schedule for Season 1 on the SCG Tour. Of course, we do have an Open taking place behind us here in Las Vegas. That's kind of the first big event that we do have take place for Season 1. Then we'll take a little time off. I think we could use some of that. And then Cincinnati to kick off January. After that, we'll go to Charlotte and Atlanta. Columbus in the regional championships if you're not qualified for the Pro Tour. Louisville, then Philadelphia, where we'll have some legacy action for you guys. Indianapolis, Baltimore, and wrap it up in Columbus, April 15th through the 17th. Standard and Modern with a Standard and Top 8, where we'll be punching some tickets to the Players' Championship for 2016. And of course, for all of you to play in our open, that's our main event. It's the Kitchen Lynx playmat, a cat that just can't handle milk.
I mean, he's just having a lot of fun here. A parody on Kitchen Finks. Yeah, I mean, anything with cats is pretty much going to be one of my favorite things. I'll certainly be picking one up.
Do you own a cat?
I do have a pet cat.
Nice, very nice. I had a feeling that you would have a pet cat.
Yeah.
I'm doing a little pet research.
I can show you pictures of her on my phone if you're interested.
After the match.
I have a lot of them.
After the match. Wait, you have a lot of cats?
No, a lot of pictures of the same one
okay,
cat.
Okay, understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
That's when you own a cat. That's what you have to do is take lots of pictures of your cat and show them to people.
I don't see you posting them on Facebook very much.
No, I don't post them much on Facebook.
No, I keep them for myself.
They're for me.
Game number 3 about to be underway here between Wijaya and Juliano. I've been doing a little pet research as I'm moving to Roanoke to work in the home office for Star City Games. So I'm thinking cat. I've heard dogs, you got to be around a lot. Not great if you travel a bunch. So
I'd say if I was living out in the country right now, I would probably get a dog.
Yeah?
But
I think I want a dog, but they just require a lot of attention. So I've been told, no experience with a dog before, but I kind of want one to watch basketball with. Tired of watching the games by myself. We'll see. Fish, for a while I was going to do fish, but I think fish are just a lame pet.
You don't really interact with them. Yeah. I mean, you can watch them, and that's where it stops.
It's hard to even classify fish as a pet. I think they're just there.
They're a decoration. Is that
I think
fair?
that's more accurate, yeah.
Okay.
They're just kind of there, not really doing very much. One thing I do want to do, but I've been told this is a bad idea, I want a porcupine as a pet.
I have never seen a pet porcupine.
There's a video online. There are a lot of those. There's a rescued porcupine, and then I saw just a bunch of people. I saw one guy petting it, but you have to wear gloves because the quills, everything.
Right.
But the porcupine was just having a ball, being petted, and I was like, I kind of want one of those, but it's just not going to work out. And I've actually done my research. Porcupine as a pet is a horrible idea, I've been told.
They don't end up liking you either?
No, they don't like you at all.
They bite you?
Yes.
Okay.
I think at the early stages it's fine, but then once they get older, they don't want to.
I had that experience when I was young with a pet hamster. Thought it was really fun because, when I was in grade school, we had one that it just bites you.
Yeah, my brother had a hamster.
You can't play with them or anything.
My brother had a pet turtle, too. I think I'm past that. I think a pet turtle's a cool idea when you're 10.
Turtles were cool. I mean, especially when I was 10, because Ninja Turtles were really big. So a pet turtle, yeah. You'd probably name it, Donatello or something.
I'm a Michelangelo guy.
Okay.
Myself. I've been told by Tan and Grace that his friend has a pet porcupine and that they are a lot of work. I just kind of want one. And I don't want a hedgehog. I'm not going to get a hedgehog name at Sonic. I want a porcupine. But I don't know if I have time for all the work. Plus, you have to own a pair of gloves.
Yeah, that's probably the deal breaker right there. I mean, how would you do that?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. Some people are chiming in on Twitter saying hedgehogs are awesome. Debatable.
They like chili dogs.
Hedgehogs?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Did you not watch any of the Sonic the Hedgehog cartoons?
Okay, so I did.
Oh my goodness.
I did.
Sonic's all about chili dogs.
It's been a really long time. I watched it as a kid, but I don't remember anything about it. It's been a really long time. I used to watch the Mega Man cartoon mostly. A horrible show. Did not age well at all. Truly sad.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that one.
Oh, it's bad. It's really not good. Zergo is where Juliano is going to start things. Now, we saw this start in game number 2. And that's a good start. Obviously, you want to get to the board early with this or Swift Spear. You'll have to see if Christopher can actually capitalize on it this time.
Yeah, we actually saw a turn 1 Zergo, turn 2 Swift Spear into a relatively slow start from Wijaya. The one main deck copy of Languish, or rather sideboard copy of Languish, I think did the work there.
Yeah. For Wijaya, he just started things off with a Flooded Strand. He's going to fall down to 18, virtual 17 here from the fetch land.
Well, that's one of the differences with this red-black deck as opposed to, say, something like a Tarka Red. So when a Tarka Red goes Zergo into Swift Spear against you and you don't kill one on turn 3, you die.
Yeah.
Because they're going to follow it up with, a Hordling Outburst, or they're going to cast a million burn spells at your face and become immense you, or something horrible. And what happened with Juliano was he got the 2 creatures that got in, and then no follow-up, they got languished, and then we were playing Magic again. And that's one of the dangers of having cards like Kolagon or Kolagon's Command or Hangerback Walker in your deck, is when you get ahead early, you don't always bury them.
Wijaya going to sacrifice that Bloodstained Mire, get himself a swamp. I think we're going to have a duress on the way, and we do. We'll see what Juliano is working with. Kolagon's command down. Zergo, Kolagon, the Storm's Fury, and a couple of lands. And this feels a lot like the last game, where the duress, if you're Vidi, you're crossing your fingers and hoping it's not too bad on the other side, and it's not again.
It's a second Zergo, 2 lands, and Kolagon. You're right. I mean, Vidi's great. Okay, he has to answer the Kolagon. I suppose if he answers Zergo, Juliano will play another one, but... So now Vidi gets to choose whether he wants to kill Zergo or just take 2 a turn for a while. There's not going to be a follow-up.
So it might be another game where he uses his life total as a resource?
Because Juliano's not making him pay he's not progressively paying life points. Okay, he's paying 2 a turn. It's not 2, then 4, then 6, then dead.
Yep.
So yeah, if it's only 2 a turn, sure. Vidi may just, yeah, he'll take time to set it up.
He drew a copy of Foul Tongue Invocation for the turn. Unclear if he has a dragon in his hand at this point.
Well, what he can do is if he wants to Foul Tongue away the Zergo, he can wait until Juliano goes to combat, and then it'll die. Juliano can't play the replacement Zergo until the next turn. He gets the creature and he gets the attack phase.
Yep. Juliano going to search up a copy of Smoldering Marsh with that Bloodstained Mire. Here comes Zergo again. Down to 13.
So you can kill it during attacks, or you can go one step farther, just take 2.
Kill it on the unstep.
Just don't kill it?
Yeah, also an option.
Sure.
Flood is Dragon to be sacrificed. Battle lands are all live, of course. 2 basics out there on the battlefield. Vidi thinking Smoldering Marsh, maybe Prairie Stream if he wants the white mana right now. And he'll go with Prairie Stream. Will he cast the Foul Tongue? Yes. Does he have a Dragon reveal? Yes. And Dragolord Ojutai.
Oh, good one at that.
Not bad. Up to 16 he goes.
By playing that end step instead of during combat represents a counter spell. Not sure if he actually has one.
Utter end the draw. Polluted Delta the land, pass the turn back.
Great start again for Wijaya. Now, he may not have the 5th land at the ready. But outside of that, it seems like he has just about everything. Another Foul Tongue, a Languish, an Utter End, an Ojutai.
It's a really good hand.
Yeah, it's good. The only thing he has to worry about is this Kolagon, and he's got it covered a couple ways.
Yep. Juliano going to draw. I believe Thunderbreak Regent. Maybe a Swift Spear. It's a red card.
Interesting spot here for Juliano is whether or not he just wants to try to jam a Kolagon. I don't think he's going to go for that.
He's going to dash Zergo. And now here's Swift Spear.
It's aggressive, but we've seen Vidi take a lot of damage because there's not so much follow-up in Juliano's deck. And you see, okay, with the dash Zergo, he'll take 3. The Zergo's going to go back. The clock's not fast enough.
Down to 12 goes Wijaya.
Now that dash does mean that Juliano is doing a good job of playing around language, which Wijaya does have.
Our top 8 being announced here for our first open of Season 1. Here's Dig Through Time. Steve Rubin making the top 8.
No surprise there.
Nope.
Fourth place with 36 points, Cal Avery.
Vidi gonna dig through time here. Danny Jessup making the top 8. We'll see him next week in the Players' Championship.
5 points, Nathan Steuer.
Pretty reasonable dig through time. You see backup copy of Ojutai, Painful Truths.
No, it's not bad at all.
And in 8th place with 34 points, a clean cut, Brian Braun-Duin.
8th place, Brian Braun-Duin.
So pretty big, good collection of names here starting off the 2016 season.
Absolutely.
If I just announce your name, please report to the feature match area.
Vidi taking just a little bit more time to make sure he knows how he wants to resolve this dig.
Report to the feature match area.
And he's found 2 cards he's happy with.
So just Swift Spear left on the board. There's a window for Vidi to make Ojutai here. Now, he does know about Kolagon. He knows that he'll have to take a hit off that if he goes for Ojutai. Also, he's seen self-inflicted wounds out of Juliano, so it's not without risk.
That 4 on the sideboard, unclear how many are in the deck.
He knows it's more than 0. Or at least it was last game.
Vidi thinking Prairie Stream here with the fetch land as he falls down to 11. Oh, dare you to beat it. This is my favorite aspect of this deck. You know your opponent has stuff, or potentially could have stuff, but you have to kill this thing.
It's not. I mean, it's a pure control deck up until when it isn't. I mean, it gets to turn. It's a control deck that almost always on turn 5 when it has Ojutai just taps out and casts it and says, dares you to do something better.
Yep. If you can, good for you. If you can't, you probably lose.
Yeah.
Over to Juliano, we're going to go. He's got that Swiss Spirit. We know he's got Zergo and Kolagon in hand. Remember, he has negates on the splash in the sideboard, and he has a Sunken Hollow to be able to cast one. Looks like he picked up a copy of Hangerback Walker for the turn.
Well, I will give him an insurance policy against Foul Tongue Invocation. But what I like about Wijaya here is he actually just used that Ojutai as a kill spell for Kolagon.
Yeah, I love it. There's a Zergo. Pass the turn back. Let's trade. I think he might have a backup Ojutai in hand. I'm not taking that kind of hit here.
Look at that. Okay, so actually what happened was, now we're putting it together. He cast that Dig Through Time the previous turn, took a second Ojutai, played the first one, expecting to have to trade it for Kolagon, and already had his backup one at the ready. That's, well, good foresight.
Tasker the draw.
Well, 2 creatures means Languish looks pretty good now.
Yeah, we saw him cast Languish on these 2 creatures last game. And truthfully, I think Vidi, as far as playing the turns out in his head of how they're going to go, he's done a masterful job of that. He's got Languish for these 2. He's got Utter End for Hangerback Walker in case Juliano does draw it. And we know Juliano has a Hangerback Walker in hand that he can make very large. It's hard for Vidi to normally beat, but he's got the answer. Now here's Flamewake Phoenix. That's going to come across for 2. Wijaya's going to fall down to 9. And now we might just see a Hangerback Walker here for 1. And that means that Juliano is empty-handed. And Wijaya can move forward however he'd like.
He has Wijaya to 9, but 9's looking like an awfully big number. It's the ultimate price, Foul Tongue Invocation, Silumgar, all in Wijaya's hand. Oh, not to mention an Ojutai.
Yeah, might as well cast that.
I mean, Flamewake Phoenix has to attack.
So it does. So it does.
Yeah.
Anyone could win that fight. Not a bad top deck.
Yeah, that is probably the best top deck Juliano could hope for here. Now, I don't know if it'll be enough, but it's worth looking at. I wonder if you just swing. I am on the opinion that you swing everything here.
Try to get as much damage as you can.
Well, I mean, the Hangerback will be worth 2 damage because it gets pumped off Kolagon, and good, he's going to make the play. And Wijaya can't really block the Hangerback. If he blocks the Hangerback, he goes to 1. So I would rather have 2 damage than a counter on Hangerback.
So what will Dragonlord Ojutai block?
Well, that's the question. Flamewake Phoenix looks pretty good here. If you think you can, otherwise he can just, you know, accept the consolation prize of the Kolagon.
Take 5, go to 4.
Yeah, I mean, that draw was phenomenal for Juliano.
No more Kolagons to worry about. Silumgar scoring the draw.
And some mana choking here on Wijaya's side, actually. He would like to be able to say Foul Tongue and ultimate price, but then Foul Tongue will get Hangerback. I would rather that not happen. It's close. Up until that Kolagon, I was going to say that Wijaya had it handily. It still looks good for him.
Here's Tassiger.
What I think will be interesting is next turn, he'll have to take care of the Flamewake Phoenix. Wijaya can use ultimate price on the Phoenix, which means it might come back at one point. Or he can Utter End the Phoenix, but that leaves him open to Hangerback. So there's some pluses and minuses to his removal spell selection. At the same time, Utter End costs 4, so that may just be the thing that makes the decision.
Yeah. Here comes Flamewake Phoenix.
Tell you what, knowing how Wijaya's been playing this, he'll probably just take 2.
It's a little risky, but she might be right.
Yeah.
He's going to use ultimate price here. That'll take care of Flamewake Phoenix. If you're Vidi right now, I think you're expecting Christopher to draw something that's irrelevant over maybe the next turn or 2.
Well, you're hoping for it. If Christopher draws a land at any point in these next few turns, it's probably the game.
Activate Hangerback Walker right away. Pass the turn back.
Good play.
Yep. Painful truths.
Well,
Nice.
we're at 4. It's fine.
You are a crazy person.
I am just trying to come around to how apparently this deck is played. I'm learning.
Pass the turn back.
You're right. 2 games ago, I would have told you can't cast that card. But now I'm not sure.
There's Flamewake Phoenix. See what VD wants to do about this.
Foul Tongue, Scorn, Utter End are his instants available. If he puts 2 copies of Phoenix in the graveyard, it means he'll have to save that Silumgar Scorn or save a kill spell basically for any 4-power creature that could ever present itself.
They're scoring. And take care of Flamewake Phoenix. Yeah, any card like Thunderbreak Regent, big stuff like that.
Yeah, you don't want all these Phoenixes jumping out of the graveyard.
Yep. Time to untap.
And what I've liked here with Wijaya's side, he's stuck on 5 mana, and lots of other players are stuck on 5. You see them really prioritize something like mana efficiency. On the last 2 turns, he's been playing his cheapest spell, even though he's stuck on mana. It's been very mana inefficient, so instead he's valuing lining up the removal how he wants to, and really just doesn't care about the ability to cast maybe 2 things down the line.
Dragonlord Slumgar. Target Hangerback Walker. Pump. Draconic Roar. Ooh.
Oh, wow. Nice play by Juliano.
All right. 3 Thopters.
That's excellent.
If he finds Thunderbreak Regent, I think he wins. Oh, my.
And he does Thunderbreak Regent.
Oh, my. Get back to 2 Flamewake Phoenixes.
That's going to do it. Wow.
He can block 1 Flamewake Phoenix.
Yeah, what a turn of events here. That's going to get it for Juliano.
A huge top deck there from Juliano, and that is going to do it. Christopher Juliano is going to win game number 3 here over Vidianto Wijaya. Red Black Dragons, Esper Dragons getting ready here for game number 4. He gave himself the best chance.
And what might have been an oversight on Wijaya's part, it looked very safe to make that play, and it really took a combination of things to get it for him. But that combination happened, and Juliano's on the board.
And you have to imagine Draconic Roar was not on Vidianto's radar, going to make 3 tokens out of nowhere like that, but that's exactly what happened. Juliano, as you said, he's on the board.
All right, so 1 game on his side. We are going to a game 4.
I'm surprised. I thought Vidi had that game pretty well wrapped up.
Yeah, I mean, you see what? 1 card in hand, Hangerback Walker, Utter End in VD's hand. You think, how's he going to lose this? It seems great.
I thought that one was wrapped up. An impressive comeback there. So I guess it'll be interesting to see if VD wants to sideboard a little bit differently. He's automatically grabbing some cards here, given that he's on the play this particular game.
Yeah, and there is some punishment there. So when I talked before about how he was valuing mana, the spells over their efficiency. So say we have some more efficient spells, then maybe VD can do something like Utter End the Hangerback Walker, and then gets to Silumgar's Scorn, the Draconic Roar. Maybe he can play 2 spells to get around it. But the Dragonlord Silumgar seems safe, and to be honest, if that doesn't happen that turn, the game's over.
Well, we do get ready here for our next game. And what a game that one was. And we'll talk about our Season 3 Invitational Champion very quickly. That's, of course, Alex Bistecki. And he's got that Germ token. Not a lot of time left to get it, of course, because we're going to have a new token after this. Rumor has it, VD, if he does win, thinking a Stang token.
So Stang Twin Token, that's from Legends.
Yeah, it's an old one. Yeah. But a goodie. And a rumor has it, Caleb Scherer thinking a Storm token if he can get one of those. Not sure what Juliano's thinking, but we know what Bistecki was thinking. He wanted a Germ token for his Battered Skull, so he's got one. The ways to go about getting this, pretty simple. All Open Series players will get one. All 5K Premier IQ players will get one. And then in all orders from StarCityGames.com, 5 order minimum, and you can get them at our dealer booth as well. Alex Bistecki going to be playing in the Players Championship next weekend, December 19th and the 20th at the Star City Game Center in Roanoke, Virginia. One of 16 competitors battling it out for $50,000, and one of these 2 here in our feature match could be as well. Vidianto Wijaya currently up 2 games to 1 over Christopher Juliano. Heck of a comeback there in game number 3.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of things had to break his way. There's a real clutch turn where he top decked a Kolagon, and then that Thunderbreak region. So some things had to break his way, but Juliano setting himself up so that if the pitch was served to him, he would hit it.
He nailed it out of the park, but he's on the draw this game. That's a world of difference.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Wow. All right, we're going to game 4. I did not think we'd be saying that.
I didn't think so either.
Wow.
When Vidi had Dragonlord Slumgar, Foul Tongue Invocation, Utter End in hand, all that good stuff, Utter End a clean answer to Hangerback Walker, I'm a little bit surprised. I think he might be too.
I mean, when he had second Ojatai in play, I was thinking, okay, yeah, we're done. He did it. He had stabilized, run Christopher out of cards. He was still at 10. Things seemed great.
Yeah, you hate to see a game like that slip away if you're Vidianto, because we have seen 2-0 leads disappear. And Alex Plastecki is one of the ones who's done it in the most famous fashion.
That was last season's finals, was down 2-0 to Stephen Mann.
Yep. Mulliganing in game 3, kept a hand that he wasn't thrilled to keep, and climbed all the way back. And that's why he'll be in Roanoke next weekend. Maybe Juliano claws all the way back here. It's looked pretty one-sided so far.
Yeah, we were wondering how this matchup would work out. Lots of times Esper Dragons struggles against red strategies. This is not the red deck we know in a Tarka Red, so we're wondering how it would be. And, you know, 2 games in and even 3 games in, I would say it looks decisive for Esper Dragons. But Juliano showing really the power that those high drops give his red deck.
I still think that Vidi is favored. I love his matchup. But, boy, oh boy. That was a heck of a game there.
Well, back down to the grind. He's going to have to do it again.
Indeed. Both players going to take a look at their opening hands. He's happy with what he's found. Juliano going to take a mulligan very quickly. Not happy with what he's seen. Curious to see how well this Red-Black Dragons deck does mulligan.
Well, what I'm interested is what might happen. We've seen a turn 1 Zergo 3 for 3 from Juliano. I'm wondering what will happen in the games where he doesn't have that early pressure.
It's a big question, because I think the later we go, the worse it is. I know he won a late game there, but it was timely top decks that got him home. It wasn't a thing where I want to go to the late game against this deck, because that's not where he wants to be. He's got some cards that if he works his way into the mid game that can get the game for him, like Kolagon, like Thunderbreak Region. But the longer we go, that's when cards like Ugin start showing up. That's when multiple counter spells are in hand for Vidi. That's when he's had a pretty high life total thanks to Shambling Vent. Six cards here for Juliano.
And Juliano's plan in these post-board games has really been to just chip shot some early pressure in, so and try to win with 1 or 2 dragon swings in the late game.
Does he like the 6?
In a matchup like this, card quantity does matter on Juliano's side. Unlike other red decks, he actually has to get up to 5 mana to play 5 drops, so he needs early pressure, he needs lands. A lot of pieces there. Quantity will help.
He's going to keep the 6. Top card very quickly goes to the bottom from the scry. Vidi going to start things off with the Polluted Delta. You mentioned what happens if he doesn't have early pressure. Smoldering Marsh is the start.
I believe he kept a 1-lander on the draw with the scry rule, and so far he's 0 for 2 on the scry and the draw for hitting it. And the difficulty is, it's not just like he needs the 2nd land. He needs the 4th. Those are not good odds.
Sunken Hollow. That's the land that Vidi did fine with the Polluted Delta. There's an island past the turn back. Juliano.
Does he get to play?
I think so. Yes.
All right.
There's Zergo. Wants to play around Salumgar's Scorn. Pass the turn back over to Wijaya. Wijaya will draw a copy of Ultimate Price.
Well, I believe it's on turn 2 because he kept his 1-lander had the battle land on turn 1, and I think he drew them. Yeah, he drew the mountain.
There's Bloodstained Mire.
A duress picked up from Wijaya. May get to have a look at just what Juliano's keep was.
There's a swamp. And let's see what that grip is. Hangerback Walker, negate, self-inflicted wound. Flamewake Phoenix, Thunderbreak Regent. And Vidi gonna write the contents of the hand down here. Curious to see which spell he wants to take between negate and self-inflicted wound. Self-inflicted wound is the one that's obviously castable right now. Negate could kind of gum up the works a little bit if Juliano's able to work his way into blue mana, however.
Well, I do believe that Wijaya has a turn 5 Ojutai ready to go in his hand. And when you sense weakness on your opponent's side, which I would if I was Vidianto right now, I'm more inclined to take the self-inflicted wound and just say, hey, I'm going to hit you with this turn 5 Ojutai. If I take it, you don't have an answer.
Wound down.
The big test is on Juliano to see if he can draw lands and blue lands at that.
Yep. Wijaya will just pass the turn back now. Juliano will draw. Didn't get a great look at the draw step, but it is a mountain. All right, he gets to play some Magic now. Here's Flamewave Phoenix.
To runner land is exactly what Juliano wanted. They aren't pretty lands, and the hand is still average, but he's playing, and he's got a shot.
Yep. Ultimate Price going to take care of...
There is a Thunderbreak region in Juliano's hand.
All right, there go down.
Yeah. Wijaya, I think, is hoping that his Ojutai can race the Thunderbreak region to the battlefield.
Silumgar scoring the draw. Pretty big draw there for Vidi. Gonna play an island, pass the turn back.
And look at this disguising he's going on. He hasn't played a white mana yet, and that's intentional.
Yep, he's got basic planes in hand.
Yeah, he's had it since the beginning, too.
Looks like Exquisite Firecraft was the draw.
Yeah. Phoenix will swing with only 3 lands. There's really just one play for Juliano. It's going to be his Hangerback Walker. I suppose he could just send a Firecraft upstairs. That's the other line, which sounds bad, but it's not horrible.
It's not horrible. I don't know if Vidi would counter it or not. It's not horrible. I think Vidi has 4 cards in the graveyard right now, I believe. Duress, 2 fetch lands, and an Ultimate Pricer's Hangerback Walker. Yeah, I like scorning this. Reveal Dragonlord Ojutai.
Well, that's got to be a win for Juliano. Anything that gets a Silumgar scored out of the hand is decent.
Ojutai.
Said it before, it's a control deck, and we rarely see Vidianto play anything on his main phase, except the moment you get to 5 lands, you drop Ojutai.
What if Foothills the draw here for Christopher?
Well, that will turn on the blue mana. Wait,
no, it
won't.
No,
no. Goodness.
It'll turn on Thunderbreak region, but it will not turn on the blue mana.
Right, blue, the one color Wooded Foothills cannot find.
Yep. Painful Truths dig through time here in Vidi's hand. See if he can find an answer here for the Thunderbreak region. Because now we know exactly what Juliano's working with. Vidi's got a pretty good idea. He knows one of the cards in the gate. He does not know the mystery, which is Exquisite Firecraft. If he can take care of the Thunderbreak region, he's in pretty good shape. Wijaya will draw. Dig through time number 2.
So he doesn't have the kill spell yet.
I guess we'll find out if things are going to get painful here. He'll attack.
And I wonder if Juliano has to block, right?
No.
Whoa.
He's not.
I mean, he really wants. He gets his Phoenix back, but.
Well, I guess the question you have to ask yourself, if you're Christopher, right, is, am I winning if I'm blocking? My hand stinks.
Okay, I guess if he's blocking, his hand is negate Exquisite Firecraft.
Yeah.
That's. All right, you know what? You're right.
I don't like taking 5. I don't like letting you get to anticipate. But am I winning if I'm blocking? And I think the answer is no.
And Jace was the play for Wijaya. I was somewhat expecting him to try to find a kill spell for Thunderbreak so that the Phoenixes couldn't come back.
The Bloodstained Mire is actually a pretty relevant draw here.
Well, one thing you'll see Esper Dragons players do frequently is once Ojutai starts connecting, is they actually abandon the control strategy altogether and just start to try to race you. Ojutai is a 5-power flyer. It's pretty good at it, actually.
Things are getting interesting here because the black mana allows negate to go on. It can find a copy of Sunken Hollow. Exquisite Firecraft has 1 spell in the graveyard for spell mastery and self-inflicted wound. And the life total lead here is for Juliano. I think we're going to see Wijaya cast Dig Through Time here, and I have no idea if it's going to resolve or not.
So Juliano had the option to point the Firecraft at Ojutai here, but it looks like he's declining.
I think that's going upstairs. Again, if he's not blocking Ojutai, I don't think he's going to try to fire away at Ojutai. Okay, no cast of Dig Through Time. Dragonlord Ojutai the draw. Huh.
gives him some insurance here. Now he can just trade Ojutai with Thunderbreak. Play another Ojutai, has another one for later.
Permission to draw. Painful truth down. Coward.
All right, I'm going back to not understanding how Painful Truth works. I'm just going to say that.
I don't think I could cast it here in this game.
Well, I don't know. When I think he's going to cast it, he doesn't. And then when he does cast it is when I don't know.
I could never cast it. I'd just be too scared. Dragon Load Shine's on defense. You saw Jace take out, pass the turn back.
Just when I thought I knew something.
With that said, I had a great time with this event, and I hope you have that too. If you have any
Scabclimb Berserker.
All right, that one out of the sideboard.
Vidi gonna take a look, see how this affects things.
It's actually a pretty good draw right now.
With negate protection. 3-mana 2/2 haste, renown 1. We don't see renown a ton in constructed. If you get the renown counter on there,
It's a big deal if you do.
it does matter a lot. Here's dig. Will it resolve?
Interesting. Wijaya is going to do a minimal delve for this dig.
Looks like Juliano's going to use negate. Remember that Vidi knows about negate in hand. The one thing he does not know about is exquisite firecraft.
Sure. So I'm interested in whether or not, in which creature Ojutai is going to block here. Now, the Phoenix is a 0/2. If you let Scabclimb Berserker get Renown, I'm not sure you can actually do that.
Mm-hmm. Here come the attacks. I don't know what he does here either. I think you block the Berserker. You go down to 4.
It's my thought as well, but I don't like either line if I'm the control player.
With 16 points, Mike Greenbaum. In 7th place,
You're gonna rock in a hard place.
And remember that the removal spell that Wijaya has in his hand is a Foul Tongue Invocation, which is remarkably bad on this board.
In 5th place, with 17 points, Wes
All right.
Calvis.
Gonna block Thunderbreak region, take 2. And no Foul Tongue Invocation in hand. Dig Through Time and Draglet Ojutai in hand right now.
So I guess what he can do here is now he can cast Ojutai, Jace can plus to target the Phoenix, and if Juliano has nothing, we're safe.
Okay.
For now. Now, Exquisite Firecraft make things really bad because then Wijaya just can't play spells for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And in 1st place, also with 18 points, Anthony De Lorenzo.
Up goes Jace.
Legacy players, if you are in the top 8, please meet me at table 360 in order to get your prize wall tickets. We're gonna take you guys to the
I don't, and I think this Berserker is gonna lock Wijaya out.
Again, Legacy
I think it might.
players, please meet at table 360.
All right, Berserker. Draglet Ojutai pass.
So yeah, at 6, I mentioned this earlier, if Juliano points the Exquisite Firecraft at Wijaya, he'll go to 2, and he'll be unable to cast non-creature spells for the rest of the game, or, well, he has an out, but it's tough.
This was a great draw. Zergo gonna be dashed. Everybody's going over to Vidianto.
So I do want to point out something here is that this is a missed sequence for Juliano. What he wanted to do here was Exquisite Firecraft pre-combat on Vidianto and then swing. Right, because now if Ojutai blocks the Scabclimb Berserker, and say Wijaya has some sort of counterspell, he actually will not take damage on the counter and could survive through the turn.
Well, the Berserker right now is a 1-power creature. So he would
Okay.
take 4 and go down to 2, and then the Firecraft can't be countered. So
okay, yeah, Spell Mastery.
Yeah,
Okay.
Spell Mastery, so he's good.
All right.
I think
Stand corrected.
I think Vidi's in a no-outer. Yep, there's Exquisite Firecraft. Spell Mastery, and that's going to do it. Christopher Juliano has tied things up here against Vidianto
Wow.
Wijaya. Red-Black Dragons and Esper Dragons are getting ready here for game number 5, as unlikely as it looked in the middle of game number 3.
Yeah, so some chinks may be showing in the armor for Wijaya. He's been dominant today. I mean, the start of this match looks dominant, but now we're going to 5.
And it's all based off of the fact of a Draconic Roar that I can't imagine Vidi thought was in Christopher's deck at the end of game number 3. Blew up a Hangerback Walker, made 3 Thopters, top deck a Thunderbreak Regent, bring back 2 copies of Flame Wake Phoenix, and all of a sudden, he wins game 3. He's won game 4, and Christopher Juliano, he might win game 5.
And what a situation has been. That was a situation, if we remember that start for Juliano, he kept a 1-lander on a mull to 6 on the draw. He missed the lands on the scry. He missed the land on the first draw. Things looked bad for Juliano.
It looked horrible. It looked absolutely horrible, but he's coming back, and he's looking to come all the way back. Now, you see the options here again for both players. We'll start with Wijaya since he's on the play. 2 Ration Clerics, 3 Monastery Mentors, 2 Negates and Ultimate Price, 2 Tassigers, 2 Duress, a Languish, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound. We have seen Ultimate Price. We've seen Tassiger. We don't know if both are in, but we know at least one. We've seen Duress. We know Languish is there. Right. I have to imagine Negate is floating around there somewhere, and a Ration Cleric.
Yeah, so, well, it's interesting. So we haven't seen a Ration Cleric yet. I agree that I somewhat expected to see it. But remember, Esper Dragons isn't a Ojutai's command deck, so the card is actually a lot more narrow than you'd see it in, say, maybe a Jeskai Black sideboard. In Jeskai Black, you'll play it, let it die, get it back, play it. It does a lot of work here. For here, I think because Juliano's not actually a Tarka Red deck, maybe Ration Cleric just doesn't do enough. I mean, there's only 8 creatures in the deck that it blocks.
On the other side of things for Juliano, Scatplan Berserker played a role in that game. We just saw him draw 1, and it was a game winner. He's got 2 of those, 2 Outpost Sage, 2 Negate, 2 Ultimate Price, 3 Duress, 4 copies of Self-Inflicted Wound. We know Self-Inflicted Wounds in the deck in some numbers. Outpost Siege, unclear at this point.
Unclear. We've seen Negate. We know Duress is in. We just saw Scab Clan Berserker. Outpost Siege still seemed good to me, but he's now bringing in enough cards out of the sideboard that he may just not have room for all of them.
Yeah, the configuration, it's just very unclear what Juliano is up to, again, because you saw a Draconic Roar that we did not expect to see in game number 3.
Exactly.
Well, as these players do shuffle up here, we will talk about the Next Level Library with Patrick Chapin, 2 fantastic books by the innovator, the Magic Hall of Famer, the Pro Tour champion for all skill levels, paperback and ebook. They're both available now. Next Level Magic is a guide to mastering Magic the Gathering. Next Level Deck Building will help you build all decks of all types. StarCityGames.com/nextlevel for more information about these 2 fantastic books from one of Magic's all-time best. And we get ready now for something I didn't think I was going to say, truth be told. Game 5.
I mean, in game 3, it certainly didn't look like we'd be saying game 4.
Nope.
In game 4, I didn't think we'd be going to game 5. Yep. Juliano has had comebacks in both of these.
I'm sure Caleb Scherer, who is watching on eagerly, don't know who he wants to win this match. I'm not sure if he thinks he has a better matchup against Esper Dragons, Red Black Dragons, if he thinks he has a bad matchup against one of these 2 decks.
Yeah,
who knows?
It's close. I would assume he'd rather play against Juliano's deck, but this Red Black Dragons deck is a bit of an unknown as far as what its matchups are.
7-1. Christopher Juliano went with that deck in the standard portion. You count the quarterfinal match, make it 8-1. He wins this one. All of a sudden, it's 9-1.
At that point, all bets are off.
Yeah. Vidianto Wijaya will be on the play. He'll take a look at his opening 7.
Magic players, we have 2 spots remaining in the final draft of the weekend.
See if he likes his opener.
Esper Dragons has a lot more leeway on the kind of openers it can keep. Generally, anything with 3 lands, 4 spells is pretty much a green light.
Both players going to keep. We're underway here in game number 5. Winner of this going on to the finals. It's a Mountain, it's a Monastery Swift Spear here for Juliano. Wijaya started things off with a Polluted Delta. You see a couple of fetches. He's got another Delta, a Flooded Strand, and a Bloodstained Mire.
Yeah, I believe it's 4 fetch lands total, a Duress at the very least. So we'll get a chance to see what he's working against. We're back on Juliano having 1-drops, though.
Mm-hmm. Didn't have one the last game.
Yeah, I don't remember if it was on turn 2. He was on the draw, so it didn't really feel like, that red start you're used to seeing.
Here's Duress. Another Swift Spear. Wild Slash.
Wow. All right.
Firecraft. A Swamp and a Sunken Hollow.
So these are cards that I would not have expected to see in post-board, something like Wild Slash. But if you look at the hand, I mean, it is a double Monastery Swift Spear hand. I am more okay with it. If you playing, a turn 2 of another Swift Spear, Wild Slash your face, take 4, that's not shabby.
Clean answer for Jace. Wijaya has shown that he has some number of those still in his deck. Again, not sure how many.
Yeah, but that's if you look at that turn I mentioned of turn 2 Swift Spear Wild Slash, that's all of the spells in Juliano's hand. He's back to playing off the top of his deck. And he only has him at 18. That's a ways away.
Negate the draw step.
Well, that's great.
Yeah, that one's concealed. Another Swift Spear.
The negate will go a long way.
I think so. Murderous cut the draw here for Vidi. Scatter to the winds in hand. Dragonlord Ojutai as well. You know that's what the deck's working towards. Wijaya going to sacrifice both of these fetch lands.
Some pluses and minuses to his mana. He's been on all fetch lands this game. Doesn't mean his Murderous Cut is just a great bet. You know, he can scorn and cut this turn with the graveyard he's built up.
So he can do that too. Tasigur.
How good is that right here?
It's really good. That
you know,
thing is huge.
I was thinking about kill spells and about how this negate was going to be great, but you know what? This 4/5 is, let's ignore everything else but the 4/5 on the text. I mean, Juliano has a pair of 1/2s with prowess, a wild slash, and a negate. Even if he slashes the Tasigur and attacks into it, he still can't kill it.
Bloodstained Mire.
A brick wall right here.
Sometimes the start with small creatures giving beatdowns is good. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you need to go to the skies. It looks like Juliano needs to find his dragons and Flamewake Phoenixes now.
Well, he's going to have to do it soon because Wijaya is going to build his way up to Ojutai's, and as soon as he hits to Ojutai, then Wijaya will be the one attacking.
There's a mountain. The other thing he can work towards too now is he can start actually activating Tasigur. Get some card advantage.
Why not? Fill up the graveyard. He plays other cards with Delve, Murderous Cuts in the deck.
Juliano will draw. Wooded Foothills.
And the top decks that have served him so well in coming back in games 3 and 4, not being as friendly here. He's got just a little long on lands.
It's a swamp and just a passing of the turn. Wijaya going to sacrifice this polluted Delta, fall down to 13. That is a Sunken Hollow. Again, all battle lands are going to enter the battlefield untapped.
And why not? I think we might see this end of turn Tasigur activation.
Yep. There it is. Turn over a couple of cards here. Oh, nice. Painful Truths. You can have that.
Well, I mean, it's better than the Languish. I mean, I don't think you want to give him that one on this board.
I think you're right. Another Tasigur the draw.
So Wijaya does have to be concerned that if he taps out here for Ojutai, you know, he may have to end up trading it with a Kolagon. That seems to be what happens every time he does.
I'm curious to see if he's willing to cast Dragonlord Ojutai this turn. He's done it so many times when we've watched him. It seems like a pretty decent spot for Painful Truths.
We mentioned it about Esper Dragons. When you get to 5 lands and have an Ojutai, it's very frequently the correct line. On this board, it's excellent, too. So he can start attacking with Ojutai. Juliano doesn't have the kill spell for it.
Wijaya going to sacrifice this Flooded Strand. Down to 12. There's another Sunken Hollow. Yeah, Esper Dragons, mostly a blue-black deck with a little touch of white here.
Blue-black Ojutai, if you will.
And there is Dragonlord Ojutai. Over to Christopher Juliano. I think it may have been another land.
This is his window. If the Ojutai starts connecting, it's not so much the card advantage, though the card advantage matters. It's that Juliano will just be behind in the race.
Bloodstained Mire, actually, excuse me, Smoldering Marsh past the turn back. Wijaya gonna draw. Duress will let him know what the heck is going on.
You see him, not even a second thought. He's gonna fire it off. I mean, this will force the negate out of Juliano's hand, most likely.
That'll trigger prowess on both the Swift Spears as well, so it'll be a 2-3.
Yeah, Tasigur probably off the attack plan for this turn then. But
Dragon Lord Ojutai's not afraid.
yeah, I was like, that doesn't mean Ojutai's not going to swing.
Trigger. Take a look at the top. Jace among those cards. Now, you know your opponent has Wild Slash Dance, so Jace might not be that attractive. Perhaps the ultimate price that Vidi's looking at is.
Yeah, that's pretty appealing here, and that's what he's going to go with. Can hit either of the Swift Spears, and remember, even with Juliano's later drops, his Thunderbreak Regents, his Scab Clan Berserkers that we now know about, everything but Kolagon gets tagged by ultimate price.
Zergo appears to be the draw step. And looks like a dash might be in order here. And it is. Juliano on the comeback trail. He's trying. Here comes Zergo, both Swift Spears.
Well, good attack here. This is the line he has to take. You know, he doesn't have a way to defend against Ojutai, so his best defense needs to be an offense, even if it's an offense that he's not sure will work.
The goal is to make Vidi maybe overthink himself a little bit. And Juliano hasn't really played much of anything. And he's just going to pass priority. Wijaya going to make a move. And it looks like it's going to be ultimate price.
Yeah, I was thinking he picked it up off Ojutai.
Looking to take care of Zergo.
And the benefit of here is that next turn, Vidi's far enough ahead that he could even attack with Tasigur. Make that 3-turn clock into a 2-turn one.
See if he's ready to pass priority.
I mean, if he is, this attack only did 1.
Like I said, a bit of a Hail Mary.
Yeah, land, Wild Slash. Juliano, if he Wild Slashes Vidi, he'll put him to 8, but he'll lose the Swift Spear nonetheless. Wild Slashing the Tasigur doesn't get you anywhere. It's only 4 damage total.
There's Wild Slash, gonna go upstairs. Murderous Cut gonna go there.
And that's just Wijaya flexing his muscles in this situation. He could have taken that 4 if he wanted.
He'll take 2 from the slash. With Swift Spear down, other Swift Spear down. And though Vidi has not got to look at Christopher's hand, I think he senses the weakness.
Absolutely. I mean, everything's off the board. This is 2 attacks.
Yep. He'll draw. Sunken Hollow. Here he comes. In for 9. Trigger Dragonlord Ojutai. Dragonlord Slumguard, Duress among those cards.
You know, and for a brief moment here, it looked like Wijaya may have been mortal this weekend, but Wijaya reminding us that he's the first seed for good reason.
Self-inflicted wounds going to be countered by Scatter to the Winds, and that is going to do it. Vidianto Wijaya is going to win this match here over Christopher Juliano, 3-2. Esper Dragons will take care of Red Black Dragons for the #1 overall seed in the tournament, getting ready to battle against the other story of the tournament, Caleb Scherer.